Hello everyone. I was asked to make a video on how to enable the Ender3 S1 stock display on printers that run Klipper. For this you need obviously an Ender3 S1 and that machine needs to be running Klipper. If you didn't flash Klipper yet, I will provide a link in the information box under the video. In this tutorial you can go through step by step on how to enable it, and I will start by installing a Mainsail OS on an empty SD card. For this I will choose my preferred flashing program, which is the Raspberry Pi official Flash Imager, and I will choose the Mainsail OS. You can just click on choose OS here and go down here to the other specific purpose OS, then 3D printing and Mainsail OS. If there is more than one version, choose the newest version. For me it's the 061. Then just click on your desired SD card, and I prefer and recommend to pre-configure your SD card, and I choose the host name Ender3 as I'm using Ender3 S1 already on my network, so it won't collide. As the installation is headless, so without a display and keyboard or mouse, you have to enable SSH and you have to provide a password for it. So I will do the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 here, and then you need to enable the Wi-Fi and provide your SSID, which is for me the TARDIS, and then go to the password. After that, you choose your Wi-Fi country. For me it's Germany, so DE, and I will choose the language settings and the keyboard layout. I choose to skip the wizard on the start, and that's all for now. We save it and go to Flash. We say yes to it, and as I already have pre-buffered the image on my computer, it just flashes it now. In the meantime, I will give you a short glimpse on the GitHub for the display. I will provide the link also in the information box down below, and here you can just follow the instructions on how to set it up. It's for the Ender3 version 2 LCD, but it also works on the S1, which seems to be the same display or the same chipset or board or something like that. We're just following this, but slightly different, as we already have something installed here, as the Mainsail OS provides many features. What you can do before we are finished with the SD card flashing, you can get some jumper wires or Dupont wires, depends on where you live. Here you have the wiring, which is just in text, and what I think a good one is choose the same colors as shown, or choose some colors that you can follow. When you open your display screws and detach the cover from the back, The board is also labeled, so there are the pins labeled with 5V ground and so on. I double checked it before, but I think this is not needed in any case, but I recommend to do it that way. When you just insert the jumper wires to your display, just connect them to your Raspberry Pi. For me it's the Raspberry Pi 3, and it should be the same on the 4, and what I think the same on the version 2. So we are done by 62%, and I'm pausing the record right now and come right back when it's finished. So the flashing process is done. Now I can remove the SD card safely and we'll put it into the Raspberry Pi 3, and I will come back with the putty process. So the Raspberry Pi is booted up. I opened putty and typed in the host name, or for your site you can enter the IP address and then just open it. There's a new window asking me for the fingerprint, and I accept it. And now you can log in to your Raspberry Pi with the credentials you just set earlier. And now for the fun part, I prefer you start with the KIAUH Klipper installation and update helper. So for this I will go through this short process. I just copy the first command to install the JIT. Type in the password again. So this is already installed and doesn't need to be updated. And now you can go to CD and enter this command to clone the KIAUH JIT. And you can now run the script. Here you can install more, like another Moonraker instance or another web interface like Fluid, or Octoprint if you like, but I prefer Mainsail, and as it is already installed, I just go back, hit the 2 for update and see if there is any update. Yes, there is. And I will install the Klipper version 245. No, sorry, it's 245 on the local version and the remote is 281. It's updating and updating very fast. When this is done, I will also update the Moonraker and the Mainsail part. Just need to wait till it's done. So this is done. Now for the Moonraker process. And Moonraker is updated and restarted. And now for the last part, updating Mainsail. We leave the system as it is for now. And I already opened the Mainsail page. For now the Printer.cfg is missing. I will just add my downloaded and used Printer.cfg and we'll come back when I just copied it. So I opened WinSCP, which I prefer to get on my Raspberries very fast and exchange some files. I enter the host name, my user and the password, and yes, I will save it, and yes, it's not recommend, but I will just use it and go to login, accept the key, and now I'm already in the home Pi folder. Go to Klipper config, which is now Mainsail CFG, Moonraker conf and webcam txt. And as I already had an Printer.cfg set up, I will just drag and drop it into here. I will provide a link to my Printer.cfg on Pastebin, but be sure that in here are some parts down here which I delete and are part of the calibration process, like the Z offset, the PID for the heater bed, and the other parts like bed mesh and so on. Then that is needed by yourself, and we're done here. So now we can hit the firmware restart, and there is an error, as I had the pressure advanced calibrate CFG missing in here. So for this video I will comment out the parts that I can't use here without messing up with some things. So I commented out and just hit firmware restart. And restart, and it's connected. So now for the part with the display, we are done here with the KIAUH. I will open the web browser for the display part. Go to the top, and we start by using the sudo raspi config command. Get out of the KIAUH script, and we're now already in the home folder of the Pi. Get into the raspi config, select option 3. Let's go down to here with the arrows, hit enter, then go down to P6, which is serial port, hit enter, and as the first prompt should be no, and the second prompt should be yes. So the serial interface is enabled. Hit OK. finish, and after reboot this should be taken effect. So we get in sudo reboot now, and I will come back with the restarted Pi. So now the Pi is back and I already logged in. Now go back to my WinSCP and go to boot, which is in the root folder. Go to boot, go to config.txt and search for DT overlay disable BT. This should already be uncommented and working here. Let's have a look. There it is. So this is already done. Just cross-checking that it is already in there. So you can close it now and we can continue with the next part, which is enabling Klipper's API socket, which in my case is already done. As Mainsail is working different to another method to install Klipper on the Raspberry Pi, Klipper and Moonraker is running as a service, and you need to go to systemd folder to cross-check it, which is etc systemd, and then somewhere around here. If needed, I could provide a link. I watched it up, but I looked it up, not watched it up, sorry. I looked it up, but it's just fine, so you can skip that part when using the Mainsail OS part. We can now continue with this part, if not done yet. First of all, we need to install Python 3, and command is up here, copied, paste, enter the password, and just wait till it's done. We hit yes. So this is done. Then copy the next part, which installs multimeter, multi-timer. Sorry, multi-timer. And then the last part, clone the dwin T5 UIC1 LCD JIT. This is cloned into the home Pi folder, as we are in the home Pi folder as of now. So you have the dwin T5 UIC1 LCD folder up here. And now for the wiring part, you need to do this as told. And after that, we need to copy this part down below. Just copy it. Go inside here. Let's make an cd dwin and we're into that folder, list the files. The run.py is not available yet, so we create one with sudo nano and run.py, which is empty. Paste, then hit Control X, hit Y for yes, and say enter for file write to run.py. So if you now list the folder, the run.py is there. And now you just need to copy the last one, hit enter, and now you can already see there is the dwin handshake. The dwin is okay, and the connection is established. So as I can see from here, my display is already running, and to get this working on boot, we get to the next part. I duplicate my session, login as pi, now let's see, we are just in the home folder, so we are again go to the dwin T5UIC1 LCD folder, list, and see that the run.py file is already there. So now you can just copy the sudo chmod, paste it here, enter your password again, enter the next one, which is copied, paste. Now we move the service enter that, copy this one, enter that, copy this one, enter that, and for the last one, this enables the service, and before I reboot, I pause the record and see if I can just add my webcam into Klipper or Mainsail and see that we can see after reboot the screen is running well. Just give me a second. So I just configured my webcam and you can see the Ender3 display is working. I will just walk over and prove that it's working well. So now you can see I can enter the parts here, go to prepare, let's say auto home, which is working, as you can see on the side of the bed, which is working. Just wait until it's done. So now the printer is homed. And we just reboot the Pi again. Now the connection is lost. Just wait for the reconnection. and there it is. So the display is working after reboot. And that's it. You get Mainsail, there it is booting, and you see it's working. Now it's done. You installed Mainsail, you just set up your printer and installed the DWin files for a working display on the Ender3 S1. As you can see down below, there is the Raspberry Pi set up with the Gpio ports. On the right side I have an addition RJ45 jack, which I used for my ADXL 345, and this can run simultaneously and parallel to the display, as it is plugged into ports that are not used. And as you can see down here, the original plug from the Ender3 S1 is just laying around. I'm thinking of using it otherwise, don't know for the moment. Next step for me is to create a housing that can hold the Raspberry Pi and the RJ45 socket and the pins and everything else, the cables, down here underneath the display. When it's done, I will upload the file to Thingiverse, but this will take some time. As of now, it's running very well, and yeah, that's it. Sorry if the video is not as fast as or professional as any other, but I'm not doing it very often to create a video like this, and hope your files are also available, as sometimes I read about the JIT clone not working, and if you have some other problems, just comment down below and I can maybe help to solve these, but as of now, this should work for everyone. Thank you and bye.